I'm Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and let me thank all the viewers and subscribers for watching my videos and posting brilliant questions. Now, here is a question from one of our subscriber who, at the end of the course of MPM2D, in which we study coordinate geometry, beginning of trigonometry, circles, things like that, has a question. Given 2 points A minus 6 minus 2 and S 4 6 on a coordinate plane, create a scenario that uses these points and then provide solution. So basically we need to create something very interesting. So what I've done here is that instead of creating a scenario, I've split it into different steps, right? So what I've done here is we have created different scenarios, many related, as should say, situations, right? Now, when we talk about related situations, it becomes very simple to understand, and you can actually develop on that and take it to the next level, right? So the idea here is I'm giving you many related situations, and now you take it to the next level. So I'll discuss a bunch of ideas with you, and I'll also provide you with their solutions, and I expect you to take them to the next level so that you get complete understanding of what you're trying to do, and in context to what you have been given the question, you can do real justice to it, right? So I hope that is perfectly fine. So don't take these scenarios as the ultimate submission for your assessment, but take it as a beginning of making something or developing something on it. So I hope this point is clear. So what I've done here is we are given basically 2 points. So whenever we look at 2 points and we want to make a storyline, so what I've done here is that I'm saying we are given 2 points A and S. I just changed their names on a coordinate plane, and I'm saying scenario is let location of Anil's house be at A and that of the school be at S. So basically in this particular location I have added some life to it by naming them, right? So what we are doing here is that we are saying let this be Anil's house, right? So we have called it Anil's house, correct? And this is a school. This is school building, right? So that is the kind of scenario to begin with. And once you have this, obvious question is, what is the distance between them and so on, correct? So to build the scenario, what I've done here is, I've defined some more things here. Road runs north-south and east-west in this area. The only north-south road is along the y-axis. Find the shortest drivable distance of the school from Anil's house, right? So what you need to do now is that the scenario number 1 says that we have north-south road, so and east-west. As far as east-west is concerned, you can go anyway. So let us say you drive like this. However, there's only one north-south road, so you have to go like this. That is your north-south road along the y-axis, and that is how you can reach the school. Perfect. So I've given it a direction. I'm saying this is my direction east, and that is the direction north. And the coordinate plane will consider this point to be, let's say, origin O. Okay. And the idea is just to find this distance from the diagram. It becomes very simple, right? So I hope that is not a problem at all. You can just count the number of squares and then go by that. Now S2 is how much shorter is the walking distance if Anil could go through the neighbor's yard and the park across the north-south road. So that is another very simple question, and that is to find the distance as the crow flies from Anil's house to school, right? So normally you will not go like that, but however, if you are allowed to, so let us say that is the other scenario, we are going like this. Okay, so this is the shortest path between the two places. You need to find the distance, and so you could use the distance formula to figure out this distance. However, I will also share with you an alternate method of finding this distance, right? So remember that. So we'll have a distance formula and an alternate method to use this. That will be a shortcut for many situations. Okay. So I hope you understand the first two. They are very, very clear and simple, right? So that could not be part of assignment, but definitely these are stepping stones. Now, the third scenario is that a circular road is being planned with location A and S diagonally placed. What will be the distance along the circular road from A to B? So that becomes the third question. So what we do now is that we have a circle, correct? So now somewhere we have a center of this point which you can always figure out, and then we have a circular road, right? So that is the kind of circular road, and once you have the circular road, the drawing is definitely not accurate. However, it gives you an idea. So we need to find the circumference of this circular road. Another easy question, find the midpoint and the radius. So we have already done the distance, half the distance will give you the radius, right? So it is very clear how to do this part also. Now we get into slightly difficult situations. We are introducing two more friends, and in situation number 4 we have friends Ben and Cindy live close by at C and D respectively. Find their location if ABCD is a perfect square. Now that is a difficult question. I like you to think about it and then do. So that is how we have to build, a situation or a story. So going in one direction, which is coordinate geometry, you can get into this area. And the second is we're taking trigonometry, and this is find the acute angle the line of sight from A to S makes with the north-south road, right? So the last question here is, I should say, not very difficult. However, it could be at your level of understanding trigonometry, because you're just a beginner, right? So we really want to figure out what is the angle here. So how much is this angle, right? So this is what we need to figure out, which you need to do. So in this particular video, we'll just talk about these 4 situations, and you can introduce now more trigonometry, similar triangles, area of triangles, and so many other things to make it interesting. So I'll leave it there for you. Now let us see how to solve these questions in different ways. So the very first question is very simple, which is finding the distance. So so finding the distance. So let me just sketch and then we'll just figure this out. So we have Anil's house here, and it goes straight to the north-south road, and then up north, and then to the school, right? So and then to the school, which is somewhere there, correct? So what we are given here are 2 points, which are A, which is 6 minus 2, and this is S, which is 4, 6. Now you could actually just and that is your y-axis, right? So that is your y-axis. So you can just count. If you go like this, it is 6 units, right? So this distance is 6 units, and this going upwards is 6 minus 2, right? So that is 8 units, and then going from here, again, what we have here is 4 to 6 is 4 units, right? So, sorry, we did something wrong here. So this is 6 units, and then vertically, difference of 6 and minus 2 is correct. And now here, when we go 4 to 0, right? So this is 4 units, correct? Okay. So you can say that the distance is drive. is how much? We can just add this, right? 6 plus 8 plus 4, and that gives you 18 units. Correct. So that is simple. Now you need to find what is the distance, the shortest distance between these two. Now this is a very important question, especially when the coordinates are not given to you, right? Imagine I don't give you the coordinate, but I'm giving you this distances. How will you do it? So I'll show you that method. However, in your case, you can always say, well, distance from A to S is equal to square root of, you have to find the difference, right? So you get 4 minus 6 becomes plus 6 whole square, plus 6 minus 2 becomes 6 plus 2, right? Okay, and that's it. Which is 10 square, you can write here, square of 10 plus square of 8. So 164. So that becomes your distance. You can always take 4 common, so that will be 2 square root dividing by 4, 4 times 4, 41. Okay, so that could be so many units. But let's convert to decimals, because difference is not easy to work out with this. So we have, let me do only square root of 164 and convert to decimals. It is equal to 12.80. So we'll write this to one decimal place, 12.8, right? So how much shorter is the walking distance? So we can write down walking distance is difference between the two, which is 18 minus 12.8, so which is 5.2 units. This much shorter. Let me put it in bracket. Is 5.2 units shorter. Correct. So we also know now that this distance basically is 12.8. Now here is a neat way of doing it without using your formula, and that is like this. Imagine I do some construction here and I extend this. This is a very good trick. Suppose you are only given these parts and not the coordinate points. In that case, you do have a right triangle here, right? Now if you look into this triangle, this height here is can be calculated very easily, which is 8, right? So the height here is 8. So let me just rewrite. So this is 8, and this distance, let's call this point as let's say P. So this will be 6 plus 4, which is 10. And so this distance will be square root of 10 square plus 8 square. Do you see this method? So without using the coordinate points, I've actually found the distance between A to S. So the question could have been that I drove 6 units east, 8 units north, 4 units east to reach the school. And in that case, what is the distance from A to S? Perfect. Now that is a very interesting question since we don't know this point, right? And so that is a tricky question. Okay, so let's move forward. I hope you have understood one trick. So let me call this as a tip. Okay. So now let's take the third scenario, which is given these 2 points. Anil stays at point A, school is at S. A circular road is being planned with location A and S diagonally placed. What will be the distance along the circular road from A to B? So we are interested in finding the circumference now, right? So I'll just make a circle first, and let's say this is our circle, right? And diagonally we'll place A to S. Okay, so that's diagonally. Okay, so we need to find the circumference. So this is A and this is S. We just figured out that the total distance here is 12.8, right? So that was the usage of our previous 2 examples. So it is building up steps, correct? So we know that diameter is equal to 12.8 as we did in our previous example. Perfect. So let me just share that once again with you. So that is this 12.8 which we are talking about. Correct? So we are using this value. So circumference is pi d, right? So straight away we know circumference, let's say that is your center, which is, let's call that center as q this time. So circumference of the circle q is pi times diameter, so that is equal to 3.14 times 12.8. Correct. So let's use this approximate value. So we get 3.14 times 12.8, and that is in decimals around 40.2 we can write. Okay. To units. Writing units is kind of important, right? So in any graph, you can always scale it. Perfect. So you could use some units. That's another suggestion, but that becomes a kind of insight to your circles. And now let's move on and take the next example, which is question number 4, situation 4. Now, situation 4, we are saying that friends Ben and Cindy live close by at C and D respectively. Find their location if ABCD is a perfect square. Now this really is a great question, right? So we can give it 3 star as far as related rating is concerned. So what you know here now is that we have these 2 points, A and S. You need to find 2 other points so that it forms a square, right? So that means what we are interested in finding is 2 other points. So how can it make a square? So let's think about it and then figure this out. Well, we know this distance also. So the other 2 points, if you look at it, will be diagonally placed. So this will be the right bisector, correct? Somewhere like this. So they'll be along this line. Perfect. So how do we find these points? That is what you need to figure out. We know A is minus 6 minus 2, and the value of S is 4, 6. So a couple of ways to do it. We made that center as Q. So first thing is, let's find what Q is. So the value of Q is the average value. So we are using the midpoint formula. Okay, so that gives you 4 minus 6 over 2 x coordinate and 6 minus 2 over 2, right? So that is minus 1, and this is 4 over 2 is 2. So the coordinates of Q are basically minus 1, 2. Now one way to figure out is that you can do right bisector, some more of analytical coordinate geometry, right? And then get the points, right? It becomes complicated though, since we know that this is a right angle. Now here you can always do that and get your result. Now here I'll actually show you another tip. This is very interesting. So what you notice here is the slope from A to S. So let's talk about slope. Slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and that is definitely 6 minus 2 becomes plus 2, 4 plus 2, which is 8 over 6, right, 8 over 6. So if you want to go from A to S, it is 8 over 6. These numbers are pretty good actually. So when you divide it by 2, you get 4 over 3. Right, so we did 6 minus 2 as the numerator, 8, and 4 minus 6, this should have been 4 plus 6, not this. So this is 10, 10, not and it's 4 over 5. It is 46. So let me rewrite this. So the slope here is basically, let me rewrite this. Okay, so 6 plus 2 over 4 minus 6 it was, so 4 plus 6, which is 8 over 10 or 4 over 5. Okay, correct. So that is what it is. So that really means that you have to go up 4 and then write 5 to get to this point from Q to S, right? But if you want C and D, which are placed on this line, you could do negative reciprocal, right? So the normal is minus 5 over 4. Is that clear to you? So normal is minus 5 over 4. So to get these 2 points, what we could do is that we could start from the center, right, which is minus 1 and 2, and we can go minus 5 over 4. So if I go minus 5 from here, right, so if I go minus 5 somewhere down like this, which is minus 5, the coordinate value which I reach is 2 minus 5, right? 2 minus 5 is minus 3, and then I go 4 units right, that is positive. So when I go 4 units right, what really happens is that this gets added to 4, and so the y value will be 2 minus 5, which is minus 3, and the x value will be, you're moving right from minus 1, 4 units, so that is plus 3. Correct? So you get to a point which is going to be 3 minus 3, and that point you can call this as C, right? So let's call this as C. Now for D, you could go minus 4 plus 5. So from here we will go plus 5, so delta y, change in y will be plus 5, and then we do minus 4 and minus 4, correct? So if I add 5 to 2, it becomes 7. And if I take away 4 from minus 1, it becomes minus 5. So that becomes our point D. Does it make sense to you? So you see, with logic, we did this. So tip, we used logic. The concept of slope to get this point very easily. Now those videos of mine, find the fourth point, are actually liked by many students, and I hope you will understand this strategy better and use it in such assignments or tests. So we actually practically did not do any right bisectors and things like that. We got the correct answer without much problem. Now the last question here is relating trigonometry. It says we are given these 2 points, Anil's location in the school, and the question here is, find the acute angle that the line of sight from A to S makes with the north-south road. So north-south road is basically the y-axis, right? So let's get back to our question. We are saying that this is the distance from line of sight from Anil's house A, whose coordinates are minus 6, minus 2, to the school whose coordinates are 4, 6, right? And somewhere here we have the north-south road, right? So we have this north-south road here, right? This is going north. When we are saying that find the acute angle that the line of sight from A to S makes with the north-south road, so acute angle is this angle which we are interested in finding, correct? How do you figure this out? Okay, so the idea here is that slope, this is 90 minus slope, right? So let's look at it from this perspective. Think like this. Let's make this triangle, right? So this is a right angle triangle. We are basically interested in figuring out what is this angle, right? We want to find what this angle is. Okay, let us find what that angle is. Let this angle be theta, right? So we know slope is tan theta, right? That is rise over run. So in our case, we know that tan theta is equal to, so rise over run, that means we know the 2 points, the extreme 2 points, so we can actually extend this. Okay. And we figure out that this distance is from 4 to minus 6, so this side it is 10, and up we are going from minus 2 to 6 is 8, right? So the value of tan theta, which we did kind of earlier also in calculations, as far as the distance is concerned, rise over run 8 over 10, correct? So theta is equals to tan inverse of 8 over 10. You could simplify this, however in ratios it doesn't really matter. So we'll use our calculator, shift tan inverse, that is how you do it, 8 divided by 10 within brackets is equal to 38.659. So let's just say 38.7. Correct. So that's the value which you get. Remember, this is not the angle which it makes with the y-axis. This is the angle which is made with the x-axis, right? So this is with x-axis. The angle which we are interested in is the complementary angle, right? So the angle with north, so our answer here will be, this angle is 90 minus theta, right? 90 minus theta. Since that is 90 degrees, total sum is 180. These are complementary angles. Perfect. And therefore, the answer here is 90 minus 38.7. That's the answer. So we'll do 90 minus 38.7 and write down this answer as equal to 51.3. Correct. Do you see that? So this angle which we are interested in is 51.3 degrees. Does it make sense to you? So that is how we could actually do the last question. Now to summarize, we did actually a great scenario here. We found that this angle here is 51.3, sorry. Yeah. This angle here is 51.3 degrees. We also found that the circumference, so we can just combine all these learnings and place it there. So the circular road is 40.2 units. So this circle is circumference. And we did get the coordinate points for C and D, which are minus 3. So we got point C, which is given to us as 3 minus 3, and D was minus 5, 7. Right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, somewhere there, right? Okay. And 3 minus 3. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. So the circle is not very perfect. However, these are the points C and D for you. Okay. So that is how we figure out so many other things related to the given scenario. I hope that helps. Well, feel free to write a comment, share your views, and I hope it was a learning experience. Build on this scenario and then let me know what you finally got. Hope that helps. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'd be great. Thanks for watching and all the best.